About not being overwhelmed. What do you do if you're feeling really, really overwhelmed? What do you do about it? We're going to talk about it. Also, we talk about how to trust somebody, especially regarding finances. We'll talk about these topics and so much more in the Rundown with Ramon. And in each episode of the Rundown with Ramon, we want to help you live a better life overall, or give you a tip to help you start or grow your business. So thanks so much for being here today. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com or check out my brand new platform at ZoneOfGenius.com. I'm a 5-time entrepreneur, 5-time author. I've sold 3 companies, and my passion is helping small businesses grow and succeed. So again, thanks for watching the Rundown with Ramon. You know what? Let's get started. Feeling overwhelmed is not a good feeling. It's a yucky feeling. What do you do? Not when you're desperate. I'm not talking about that. Not talking about when you're in survival mode, but when the pressures of life push down on you. It could be your family. It could be your friends. It could be your work. It could be your school. And definitely it could be your business. I understand those feelings for sure. As an entrepreneur, you feel a bit overwhelmed. Sometimes those things are in seasons. So sometimes it's a season of being really, really busy. And that's okay, because that season will pass. As you're going to hear our panelists talk about, sometimes the busyness, the overwhelmed feeling is justified because you're doing something new. You're doing something different. So you're going to have that friction, as Seth Godin talks about, or that pressure. And that's okay as well, because you're doing something to take you to a higher level. And to be taken to a higher level, like climbing a mountain to get to the next place, it takes a bit of pressure, makes you uncomfortable at times. So rest assured, rest at peace that sometimes what you're feeling, it may not be a bad thing. It could be just a season you're in to get you to the next level. What about trust? A good friend of mine talked recently about how there was somebody who was scammed. She's not the first or the last person who's going to be scammed. And so I just wanted to make us all aware, especially in this world of digital communication where you can't see people, you can't hear people, you don't have that in-person communication that you normally would have. Online, there's a lot of good opportunities. Online, there's a lot of good things going on, but be careful. There are scammers, there are trolls out there who want to steal from you, who want to do you harm. So you have to be careful. We talk about some tips and advice in our panel, but one thing I want to make you aware of, you don't want to walk in fear. You don't want to walk around thinking there's going to be a burglar around every corner. You don't want to walk around like that, but you do want to walk around with caution. You do want to walk around with clarity, confidence. You do want to walk around aware of what's happening. So if you're pitched to do something, pitched to invest in something, pitched to send someone some money, be careful. Be cautious before you do that. And one thing you can do, only work with people who you trust. Preferably you've met them in person. Maybe other people trust them as well. People who you know and have spent some years with. The more time you're with somebody, it can build trust. Of course, somebody could be targeting you and building trust with you and manufacturing that. But generally speaking, once you can call someone your friend, you kind of really get to know them. That's where that trust deservedly increases. But I want to encourage you today, before you send someone money, before you click on a link, before you do something like pause, and be careful. Living a happy life. I had some opportunity to talk to Gary Vaynerchuk, a very popular digital marketing celebrity guru, well-deserved. He took his father's wine business, and through consistent daily content and more, he grew that wine business to multiple millions of dollars in sales. And now he's well-deserved with a digital marketing agency and has millions of followers across social media. So I was able to spend a little bit of time with him, talking with him about one topic, and that's how do you live life fulfilled? How do you find joy in life? How do you find happiness in life? Talking about this for my new platform, ZoneOfGenius.com. And what he said is, I've preempted myself, was that find joy in what you do and find the happiness with what money that career may make. We all have a chance to make choices. And there's people who have a lot of money and who are miserable. So money's not everything, but yet money's important. So as I think about living a happy life, as I think about how to live a life fulfilled, as I think about how we can be better people, remember, it's not always about the money. And I know most of you know that. But the balance you want to provide is making the living that you and your family want while being happy with what you do. And you'll find this out on the panel. We had a great discussion about this, is that sometimes it's also getting comfortable with doing the things that you don't like. It's learning to embrace and like some things that normally you may not like, but you're going to do them so you get to do the things you do like. And one of our panelists, David Hill, mentions this very astutely. So I wanted to touch on on that as well. Listen, I hope you have a great day. We discuss a lot on the upcoming panel with the Rundown with Ramon. So check this out. And we are back. My favorite part of the Rundown with Ramon. Get to talk to these two amazing humans today, David Hill and Robert Kennedy III. So glad you're here. David Hill, how's your week, man? How's your family? How's your life? What's going on with you? You feeling all right today?
Dude, I'm blessed, man. I'm feeling awesome and just excited to even be able to hang out with someone of your caliber and status, man. Hanging out with, spending the time with Gary Vee yesterday, and just, yeah, I'm excited, bro. I'm happy for you.
I will just receive that and say thank you, David.
Yes.
Robert Kennedy, what's up with you, man? Looking all sharp and dapper. How you feeling today? How's your family? How are you doing?
Everybody is great. I'm fine. I love reading some of your bio stuff because Ramon always makes sure to say at the end of his bio, Ramon is a father of adult children. And my daughter turned 19 this week. My oldest turned 19 this week. So, and then of course, during the week, she was like, this is how I know my relationship with my daughter is growing. She's like, Daddy, yeah, I heard a sound in my car. What do I do? Can you fix it? so can I send you a video? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's nice. And remind me, Robert, were you cycling for a cause you're going to, or you did already? If it's passed,
I did.
How did it go?
This past May. So
May, okay.
I turned 50 this year. And what I did was my wife and I started a foundation earlier this year, focusing on helping minority youth display or grow in their ideas through entrepreneurship. And so I rode 100 miles. I did a century for my birthday as a fundraiser for that back in May. And so because of that, we've been able to give out, how many did we do? We've done 6 scholarships so far this year, and we're looking to grow that and do more next year.
I love it. Well, a buddy of mine is in real estate, and he has a lot of money. And he's a
Gary Vee?
Yeah, kind of like him. He has a lot of certifications. He has a finely honed and fine-tuned body. So in fact, his name is David Hill, so you may want to hit him up. And
speaking of challenges, I'm 330 miles into a 400-mile challenge for the month of September. We've raised
cycling.
Yeah, cycling. Yeah, we've raised 5,200 so far. So yeah,
I'm one of those donors, I must
for
say.
kids cancer. It's the Great Cycle Challenge. So I'm excited.
Yes, that was probably you I was thinking of, David, because I donated just recently. So
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you did. Thank you for that.
But thank you all for being here. David Hill, Robert Kennedy, let's dive right into it, the Rundown with Ramon. One thing I wanted to touch off with right away is the aspect of feeling overwhelmed. And, again, let's chat about it. I don't really mean panic. I think there's a slight difference to that, when things are just going up the wazoo and you're in desperation mode, where I've been, and I'm assuming you two gentlemen have been there at some point in your life, and sometimes it's cyclical, but I really more mean overwhelmed. I'm like, as we're sharing this with the Rundown with Ramon, I landed from Las Vegas this morning. I'll be in Las Vegas again next week. And due to the crunch of the fall, and I'm blessed, my speaking business is growing, but I was feeling a bit tense today, especially having just landed, slept 4.5 hours on a plane, and it wasn't a great feeling. And I'm just curious what, I'll share as well, but I want you all to go first. Robert, I'll turn to you first. Have you felt that? And if you have, Robert, let's talk about that. What do you do? Is it okay? Is there a problem with it? Just riff for us a bit, that feeling of not panic. Things are good, but you're feeling some tension. Talk about that, Robert, with us.
Yeah. So I just got an email from the principal of my boys' high school. And she's saying, hey, we're doing accreditation next year, and we need people on these different committees. And I emailed her back. I said, listen, I can't do not another thing because I just have so many. I mean, I'm on 2 boards. I've got my foundation. I've got my business, of course, that I'm growing. I'm a dad, 3 kids. I'm working with the baseball team. Picking up the kids from the soccer game. All of this stuff.
And the Rundown with Ramon.
And the Rundown with blessed, by the way. All of these different things. You gotta, manage all these different things in your life, and you love them.
Yes.
And you enjoy them, and you get value from them. But we're still human beings, and we have capacity. We have a limited capacity. So when you're running at capacity. It's kind of like when you blow up a balloon, right? Or you put water in a balloon. The balloon can only stretch so far before at some point it ruptures, right? And so what we've got to learn to do, what I've been learning to do is, yeah, this week I was in Michigan speaking. I did 3 sessions at a conference. And then at the end of the day, going back to the airport, my body just felt so tired.
Yes.
And then I had to speak the next morning in Baltimore, and my body just felt drained and tired at the end of the day. And I had to just get to a point where at the end of the day where I said, you know what, I'm not going to do my normal workout and get up at the same time in the morning. I'm going to sleep in a couple of extra hours. I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace, a little bit of space, and a little bit of time for recovery.
Yeah,
so recovery is essential, man.
It is, Robert. I'm curious, Robert, before I turn to you, David. Robert, let me know if I sinned or not. I was feeling like you felt, Robert, and I have a picture of me. Once we upgrade the show with your help, I want to pull pictures in. Picture of me sitting in my pants with socks on and my dress shirt under the covers with a box of pizza and a Coca-Cola. I rarely do it, hardly ever, but was that okay, Robert? Or did I go over the?
You are human. You are a human being. I mean, I think life is not about always or never. It's about moderation.
David made, I don't know. I wasn't sure if David was an affirmation, like I got you, brother, or he's getting ready to smack me in the back of the hand. Let's see. David
is already, he's about to shake up the Coca-Cola and open the lid on you right now.
Go ahead, David. Talk to us, brother. What's going on, man?
As I was telling you before we started recording that, I'm in the process now of growing my business, and we've hired 2 new people at the same time. We're about to launch a social media company. So there's a lot of things going on. So, I like to think of it more as just different seasons, I think, than anything else. And I think sometimes we're in places where there's just a lot. And I got to deal with it. I just got to remember for myself, like self-awareness that, this is today, this is now, and I try not to get myself too worked up. I think overwhelm it's anxiety in a lot of ways, right? It's a feeling we start to get in ourselves. And for me, my routine helps with that. I did like what Robert said about the grace, though, because sometimes, like what you said, you were joking around. I don't know if you were joking or not with the pizza.
Oh, no, I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
so serious.
I didn't see the picture, but yeah, like for me, I would never. I'm extreme. So but
he's 10x.
He's 10x exactly.
Well,
he's 10x.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I'm very fit. I watch out everything I put in my body. I just been like that for a long time.
Sure.
But to Robert, so I wouldn't do the thing with the pizza personally, only because of my diet.
Sure.
But I think, with what Robert said, though, I wake up at 4:45 every morning. Well, the other day I just said, I'm going to set my clock till at 6 because I knew I was tired. I felt I was tired. I said, yeah, I know it's tough. I missed Breakfast with Champions, the whole deal, but I needed it. I needed it. Yeah. I had to give myself some grace. So I think to the overwhelmed thing, for me, it's awareness, it's meditating, it's being in my routine, and it's just realizing that, it's the moment. It's just like, okay, be in the moment. It's temporary. This is why I'm doing this, because it's going to make things easier down the road. I remember years ago, I switched banks. Like, you would think this is such a little thing, but I was at this, my mom set me up with a bank account at 17 years old at this bank called Commerce Bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was at the same bank from 17 years old until 46 years old, the same bank. So, and they had this clunky ATMs and all this stuff, and all my bills were being paid. And I switched to Santander Bank, or however they say it. Mm-hmm. And it was, at first it was just a switch, but then it was like all this stuff was going wrong. Like my bill pays weren't going through, and I didn't know how to do this, and I didn't know how to do that. And I was getting all these, like, I'm getting charged, like, hey, your bill didn't pay, here's a $40, penalty. And all these little things were happening. It was driving me nuts. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? But then eventually that stopped after a month or so. I got everything in order, and it was the best thing I've ever, like the best, easiest thing. Like, my banking is night and day now. I do everything on my app. I can do it on my computer. I don't have to go to the bank anymore. The ATMs are brilliant, right? But I had to go through that initial mess. Yeah. And I think sometimes that's the overwhelm. And if I can just keep myself focused on being present and realize that it's temporary. So
no, I love
that's
that.
kind of what I think.
3 things
about
I'm hearing, David. 3 things I'm hearing. Then Robert, I'd love to hear your further feedback on this. But 3 things I'm hearing. One is that Ramon having pizza and soda in bed is a no-no from David. But Robert's like, brother, once in a while, go for it. So that's one. Number 2 is the aspect of, I like how you said it, that sometimes the stress or rather the rushed feeling, again, not when we're in panic mode, but the rushed feeling is a season, and it's okay sometimes, especially if you're making changes. Like you said, David, clearly you're in a period of growth. That's what I'm inferring. You're hiring some people, doing some things. There's going to be a bit of friction. There's going to be a bit of pain there, but it's for the good. So that's point 2. And then 3, I think both of you are saying it's okay to take a pause. Robert said it. Listen, I said, I'm a chill for today. David said, instead of waking up at like 3 a.m., I'm only going to wake up at 6 a.m. He's going to, like that. So Robert, talk to us, man. What'd you hear?
Dude.
Man, I don't have anything additional to add. I think we've said a lot of the things at this point. It really is, using David's word, it really is awareness. It really is just being aware of where you are. And I think the overwhelm comes in, or overwhelm is a thing when we lose control of the awareness, right? When we just kind of allow ourselves to slide with whatever life has, and we're kind of bouncing from one thing to the other, and we're not aware. And then what happens is our body smacks us and is like, dude, sit down. You're not listening. Okay, let me give you the flu. Okay, let me give you a cold. Let me make you sit down so that you can actually listen and recognize that what you're doing is not healthy for you.
Yeah, that's powerful. David, any last words on that, David? I think it was powerful, Robert. Thank you. Anything else? Good.
Yeah, I love it. I agree 100%. It's good stuff, man. And I'll give you the okay for pizza, bro. It's fine. It's good. Throw some carrot. Listen, I'll tell you, my vice is carrot cake. So carrot cake, I'm gonna eat it.
So I think,
most times,
Robert, I think David felt guilty. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think he felt guilty. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
But listen, before we go on, Robert Kennedy, remind us again who you want to work with, who you reach, who you serve, whose life you want to impact, and where we can find out about you, Robert. Talk to us.
Wow. So you want to find out about me? You want to get connected with me? Simply go to RK3. That's me. RK3. That's .me. And you can grab resources and all of the things to find out where I am, all the socials, etc. Who I am, who I work with. I help people figure out how to create messages that move people to action. I do that through storytelling, through presentation skills, through communication workshops. And I do that these days specifically in the real estate industry, agents, brokers, and associations. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love that, Robert. And you're right. I mean, a lot of people can speak and do a lot of things, Robert, but I think the aspect, we know that the savants of history who've caused people to move. So I just want to echo what you're saying, brother. A lot of people can speak. That's anybody do that. But I think the art of storytelling and getting people to move is powerful. So thank you for what you do, Robert. Same thing with you, David Hill. Give us a recap of how people can reach you and work with you. And feel free to recap who's the person you're looking for to help in their journey.
Yeah, thank you, Ramon. So easiest way to get me is davidhill.link. Everything's there. It's on the link tree. And, I work with I work with salespeople. That's what I do. I help salespeople become more effective at selling, at connecting with people, at closing, follow up, the whole process. I also coach as well. And I'll tell you, my mission is inspiring millions, and I do it one at a time, or I do it 1,000 at a time. It really makes no difference, So I want people to live better lives. I went through a lot as a child and as a young adult, and I feel like I can help a lot of people move through that and create a better life for themselves. So again, it's inspiring millions one at a time or 1,000 at a time.
Thank you, David. I love it. And having heard David speak many times on different platforms, David is the master of what he does for sure. And his journey, where he's been and where he is today, it's absolutely inspiring. It shows that anybody with the right mindset and other things can rise. So thank you for that, David. Listen, our mutual friend, David Hill, today, I'm going to turn to you first, David. Scott Simons talked about a story of a lady. I think she was an older lady, but it can happen to anybody, how she was scammed. People came to her and said, whatever, can you invest X, Y, Z? And she lost all the money. So David and Robert, I just wanted to talk a bit about trust. I think there are are some different types of trust. I don't want to take this too far, but we can. But there is trust for sure with emotions. I share something with David and maybe he hurts me further, or Robert hurts me further. There is that kind of trust in different levels, but maybe we can just touch on a bit here, David. Trusting, trust as far as scams and things. There's, I think, obviously the links. Be careful what links you hit. People hitting you up on Instagram. Hey, do you want to invest in this and this or whatever? And then there's things of people you really don't know. Even if you do know, they say, David, if you invest 5,000 by tomorrow, it'll be 50,000. Any of that resonates with you, David, that you would caution people or help people understand? Because we don't want to live in a world of no trust. Then nobody will go out of their house. We don't want to live in a room, though, where everybody's just giving money or giving their time or energy. So just to help us understand, David, about trust in the online world and even offline world, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah. So, a couple months ago, I had gotten a message from someone. They said, if you send me $5,000, I will send you 200,000 in Bitcoin. So I was like, I was on that. I right away got my PayPal out. I sent them the money, and then I got nothing back, Ramon. I waited too. I waited like 2 days, and it was like, what the heck? No, I'm just kidding. But listen, we get those things all the time. And I'm trying to be humorous, like Ramon, but it doesn't seem to work.
Your face was serious. Well, Robert, you didn't think, you weren't sure, were you?
He was like,
Robert was like, is he being serious? But no. So listen, here, I am like Mr. Paranoia, possibly because I've been in real estate for 20 years, and we deal with that a lot. We deal with with deposits. We're always going through different trainings and certifications on safety and scams. So in a way, I've been lucky. So I will not click on anything for years. I won't click on stuff. I won't open files if I don't know who they are. I'm very, very much on the cautious side when it comes to internet stuff. So in a way, that's a blessing. But man, if you study, Ramon, some of the stuff that they can do now, it's wild. Like, people can get in and they'll sit in your email and for months and months just waiting for something if the right person gets in that knows what they're doing. Wow. So there's that side of it. So I'm just very, very cautious. On the other side, there's that old saying, you get me once, shame on you. You get me twice, shame on me, right? So, I mean, I think, I hope I answered the question. I'm not going to.
No, I love it. Robert?
No, thank you. This is a hard topic, Ramon, because on one side, if you're talking about the online world, there are these telltale signs, right? If I'll use the United States, if you're getting messages in broken English from people, then okay, watch out for that. If you're getting messages from people all of a sudden who are making huge promises that you've never heard, okay, watch out for that. But here's the other thing that's really become dangerous. The other day, I received a message from a person that I know well. I go to church with her, and I got this message, and the language was fine. There was something just a little bit off about the message. And so instead of replying to it, I called my friend. I said, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so. And she was like, nah, dude, I was hacked. Do not reply to that. Right. And it was her email. So we've got to, we are just in a world where we've got to be skeptical or cynical. It feels like all the time. We just have to be super observant around everything. And because you're in that space, you've got to be careful now about not letting your guard down, even around your friends or people that you may know in an online way, right? Or even your personal friends and communicating with them in a digital space. We've got to figure out how to navigate that, man. And it's feeling like trust is this commodity now that is so hard to define and come by, right? That I don't know, it's hard to live like this, but this is the world that we've got, man, and we've got to figure out how to navigate it.
Nah, for sure. Is it fair to say, Robert, would you say that over time, let's take the three of us here, if we had just met only for 30 days, I think there's some caution. And again, feel free to reword this, Robert, how you want. But one guide, besides analyzing the opportunity, that's a given. You have to analyze the opportunity independently. But at least as far as who you're working with, I've worked with Robert for several years now. We've crossed paths, done business. There's a level of trust That's high. Same thing with David Hill. We've worked together, see his face, been in rooms, etc. So it's that one thing. And again, but what do you do with the opportunity that comes blindly? Because I know one time somebody invited me to Aruba to speak. I ignored the email 3 times. It so happened he wired money to my account. That didn't get my attention. I said, honey, we're going to go to Aruba if we end up dying. But he turned out to be a good guy, Robert. So I guess what I'm trying to say, maybe that's one help for people. It's not perfect. We're not financial advisors and all that. But I think the longer you're with somebody, the longer you get to know them, especially if there's no money transacting, you build that trust to some degree and at least can start to trust the person. Is that a fair statement, Robert? Anything else to add on that?
It's fair, and even within that, there's wisdom in the council of elders. You've got to have a group of people that you may be able to filter or run some things through, because there are scammers that will build relationships with you. There are scammers that they don't scam you in one day. They scam you over time. There's been a multi-year scams.
Clubhouse.
Yes,
that's true.
Right? People that happens. And so you've got to figure out, okay, what are the things? And I don't know. I mean, I'll approach this from a spiritual perspective.
Sure.
I think that there's something in us. Call it intuition, call it gut, call it what, that even if you don't always know exactly what's wrong, you know that something doesn't feel exactly right. Right? And sometimes our desperation is what blinds us. We're so desperate for a quick fix on something that we're saying, I know there's 5 red flags there, but let me push past it. Right?
Good point.
No, you're so true. And I was at an event yesterday, and there was somebody, and this is more the sales side, David, but it's just interesting that he could have been a great guy. It's just he was selling something, pushing something, not a big investment, but he was pitching something, whatever it was he was pitching to join a group. But I felt we weren't having a conversation. It was 3 of us. He didn't listen to me and affirm it. Oh, thanks, Ramon. I would say something like, hey, Robert, I like the lamp behind you. So, Ramon, as I was saying, and this happened 3 or 4 times. So I think it's more your world, David Wright Sales, that he could have been genuine. And I'm changing the topic a bit, but just his approach left me like, wait a minute, if we can't even have a conversation, I just didn't even feel like continuing on. David, does that make sense? Is that more in the sales world? Like, if you get what I'm trying to say, like somebody wasn't, I didn't feel they were listening to me.
Yeah, well, Ramon, I mean, it's your perception. So you're always right right. It's not like if that's how you feel, then somehow there was a disconnect.
Yeah.
And, and I think a lot of salespeople, when you ask deeper questions, harder questions, you really get to understand a person, what their goals are, what problems you're helping solve. You shouldn't have those issues. But I think a lot of salespeople are just there to try to get the sale. And, maybe it's impatience. Maybe they're just not, they haven't had good sales. Who knows? But the thing I also, I'd love to get your thought, because Clubhouse is a great example. You and I spend a good amount of time on, at least in the Breakfast with Champions Club. I haven't been as much as I used to, but it's the one place I will pop in. This morning was tremendous with those 90 minutes. But there's a lot of fake people that are claiming things, and I know some of them that are not like and you almost want, like, you sit in rooms and you hear it, and I think a lot of people know, but they don't say anything. It's just like, because somebody has a lot of followers, or somebody will pop in because of it. What are your thoughts on that? It's like, for me, I'm just like, I just leave sometimes because it doesn't make sense. There's too much of that.
No, I love it. I think a few things I'll say, and I love your feedback on this before we get to Robert, but I think that, David, and help me say what I'm trying to say better maybe. I over-index on positivity and believing everybody. Now, my wife is the exact opposite of me. She reminds me, I was born in Brooklyn, you were born in the Midwest, blah, blah, blah. So meaning that's just how, God made us all different, and we have different experiences. So I do, David, over-index of, David said he's this, until proven otherwise, I believe it. Right. That's just me. So that's point 1. And to your point on Clubhouse and social things like this, I think before I will trust somebody with detailed information, before I'll even give money, I'd like to at least see you, work with you, cross paths with you, spend a bit more time. It's a low bar, but I'm not going to just hear David's voice on some podcast and say, yeah, David, sure, here's $100. Let's at least work together without even talking about investing. This doesn't mean I'm not set up, like Robert said, right? Right. David could have set me up, but that's how I see it. I mean, but you're right. There's people who can claim a lot of things. And one of our mutual friends, she says, hey, this or this person can show the receipts, and nothing beats that. Even though that can be scam, nothing beats somebody able to say, yep, these are my 5 homes. I own them. They're multi-tenant units, and I'm the owner of them. That says it all.
Yeah.
So,
amen.
Rob, anything you want to add on that, brother?
I think I'll just go back to the whole idea of by ourselves we're not wise, right? We try, I mean, we can figure some things out based on our experiences, maybe even based on what we've read or what we've heard from others. But increasingly, as the world becomes more technologically adept, I mean, man, these days with deep fakes and all those types of things out there, you don't even know. So the thing that you've got to be able to lean on is community, the wisdom of others, and those filters that you can pass things through instead of trying to determine by yourself whether something or someone can be trusted.
I think you're so true. By the way, oh, you know, they're here. Yeah. So I just talking to my uncle, we're going to do some investment in the country of Lekinisini. So I wasn't sure. Anyways, let me move on.
My credit card.
Robert made me laugh, so I can't continue on. I was gonna.
You guys won't want to laugh at my jokes, but it's all right.
Because see, David, your face is deadpan, man. You got it.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
Okay, let's go on here. Listen, as David Hill mentioned, we were pre in the green room, as it were. I had the pleasure of recently talking to Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the biggest online celebrities. So I think, in my opinion, he is a big deal. That's for sure. He's a big deal. And it was good to sit on the couch with him for a few minutes and just talk about, for him, what it means to live life fulfilled. That's the tagline of my new company, Zone of Genius, at zoneofgenius.com. So, Robert, I'll turn to you. I think one thing he said, and I'm guessing you'll echo this because I got to know your heart, but one thing he said was find joy in what you're doing and be happy at the money you're earning from the joy you have. And what I'm inferring from that is, if you really love bread making, or let's take a real good, you really love teaching. If teaching only pays 30,000, quote unquote, only 30,000, 40,000 a year, whatever, and you're happy doing it, you're going to have to be happy with both. As I kind of unpack and talk about this more, he was saying, but if that's not it, then you're going to have to do something that pays you $500,000 a year. Let me pause there, Robert. Any of that kind of resonate with what I'm trying to convey of that joy, but money's important. So you kind of have to have a balance there, I think. But what do you think, Robert?
I guess I think a little bit differently because of my experience. So yes, love what you do, enjoy what you do. I don't necessarily subscribe to that you need to be happy with the money, because I don't believe that you also have to be satisfied with the box or the framework that others have created, which provides you that money. So if I find joy in teaching, but I also want to create more money from teaching, then it may be my clarion call to go create something else where I can still teach and still find joy in that, and also have more resources to do more of what I want to do, or just to live a life that is, for lack of a better term, more comfortable at this point. But I just think it's not about just simply being happy and accepting what others have given to you. I think there's something inside of us that is required to create as opposed to react only.
But let me just push back on that one thing, David. I want to bring you in for sure. I think, Robert, as I'm pushing back at your pushback, and hopefully David doesn't push back at the pushback that I'm giving for your pushback, is that I guess everybody's not a Robert, Ramon, or David in that case, right? That everybody's not taking the teacher as an example. Great, I'm making 30,000 a year as a teacher. Let me now go on YouTube, teach myself ClickFunnels, and build an online teaching course and make an extra 30,000 a year. I know a lot of people, Robert, they can't do that, or they won't. That's not their thing. So they are in that box and they have a great time doing something else or whatever. And it's not just teachers, whatever the thing you're doing. So any thoughts on that, Robert? I could be confusing things more, but
No, you're not confusing things. I get it. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. Not everybody's creative to the nth degree in that way. I do think, though, that there is something to be said for people just living life in a box, in a comfort zone, and just life in acceptance based on what everybody else has created. I believe that if you have joy in what you do, and you're also thinking about, wait a minute, there is this money. Do I just need to love it because that's what's there, or that's what they've given to me and offered me? Or is it okay to want a little bit more, not just money wise, but maybe more from a fulfillment standpoint? I can be happy and have joy, but still want more, and that's okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Love it. David, what do you think about this? Jump in here.
I kind of lost the essence of the question, I guess.
Okay.
So if you can just
Robert,
so I'm
me.
answering the right
That's
question, because I think what I'm going to answer may be off track.
He's going to talk about going back to his crypto investments. No, David,
Yes,
bottom line is, how do you find joy in life? That's the essence. We talked about the job you're doing, loving that job, versus the balance sometimes of, are you earning what you want in that job, versus I can earn more, but I don't like what I do. That was kind of, I think, where we're going, is just joy in life and living a fulfilled life.
Yeah, I think it's for me, when I'm not always, let's just say I love, there's things I love to do, and there's things I have to do to be able to do the things I love to do. And they're not always joyful, right? It's not like what I'm doing right now is just not joyful to me. I've spent probably the last almost year of my life a lot more in the weeds than I ever have been.
I thought you meant what you're doing right now, being a rundown with Ramon. That's why I put my head down. I was like,
no, not this is joy for me, brother.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying, but like, because I transitioned from full-time real estate sales into full-time training, coaching, so it's been a lot of stuff that I'm not used to doing. So I love the teaching, the being on the calls, the being in front of a room of people, like, love that. But it's all the other stuff to get there, right? Like the bill, like I've never in my life dealt with having 70 people credit card, just weird things like declining credit cards and this and all this stuff that I've just never dealt with in my life. So that's why I'm in the process of, hiring now. And so I think the joy shows up. I know I'm on the right path. So that's the good news. I know I'm on the right path. I just have to realize, similar to the overwhelm thing, that not every moment is just going to be super enjoyable. And that, that's entrepreneur. I mean, Robert said it, the entrepreneur's life is like, it's a lot harder than it looks. People just see you on stage, Ramon, sitting there with Gary Vee yesterday and say, "Oh my God, Ramon, you got it made," and but they don't hear about the 4 hours sleep, right? Or the just got back, or I got to travel, see my family for 2 hours and then go back. You know what I mean? That's the thing so I would say that's, but at the same time, there's going to be a point where I will have most stuff figured out, where the majority of my time will be spent in what I absolutely love doing. And so that's why I work so hard to get there. I hope that answer made sense.
It does answer for sure. And I think was interesting, not even sleepless nights and things like this, which is one pain. But I must say, David, and I'm sure you'll echo with this, is that even people asking Ramon, how did you do your first event? I took my credit card and I went into debt, $25,000. And as our mutual friend TM Hyman says, and I bet on myself, there's no magic. So meaning, let's not forget the moments of, I'm sure many of us can identify with, or we have friends, we look at the people today, no, they risked it all, or I've never had a divorce and things like this, but they've risked some things in life to be where they are. So I think that's also part of that pain. To your point, David and Robert, both of us are, all three of us are doing amazing things, but we can remember back then, we can remember when it wasn't that. And I'm sure once or twice in the future, something, will repeat where I had a challenge in my life. So David, I think that was powerful what you said. Robert, what are your thoughts on that? The aspect of just, as I said, as David mentioned, the thing of people don't see where you're at, the joy you have today, because they didn't see where you were before. Tyler Perry talks about things like that, right? Sleeping in the car, being homeless for years. Now he's a big name star, but he never forgets that took years of hard work and pain and misery to get where he was today. That makes sense, Robert?
I think going back to what you said that Gary Vee said, I think I also don't want people to walk away with, my God, I got to be miserable for 15 years before I get to the joy.
Right.
I think
Not at all.
what Gary also was saying was, listen, the season that you're in may not be the most comfortable or the most fun, but find joy in it.
Yes.
Find joy where you
Yeah.
are instead of only showing up where you think there's joy.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's powerful. You got Robert. You's a pretty smart young man. Man alive. David,
I learned from the best.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, the speakers.
You's-
I listen to some great speakers, man. That's what that is.
You's a pretty smart young boy too, David. Y'all
Thanks,
are amazing
man.
people. But David,
Everyone-
anything you wanted to add, David? We're going to close the rundown with Ramon here in the next few minutes. I think we've had a great discussion. I was going to talk about something. I bought a suit recently, and I was surprised that they added me to their email list, and they've been bombarding me with emails. So we can talk about it, but it was just a minor annoyance. I was like, this big company, why aren't they targeting me better? Why aren't they segmenting me? Why aren't they teaching me how to be men's fashion? It's like one of the grocery stores we may go to every day. Broccoli's on sale, tomatoes half off, get a can of soup, buy one, get one free. So I was a bit annoyed that this relatively well-known men's suit company marketed me that way. So I was going to launch into that. Anything you want to add, David, to that or resonate with you, this email marketing, anything?
It's not my niche. It's definitely something we need to get better at, but
Yeah.
I think there's definitely ways they could do better. There's filters, there's all kinds of algorithms they could use. So yeah, I think certainly, but who knows, maybe like, I know people that just throw us, I mean, in a way, I'll use Grant as an example, who I respect, obviously, but he says money follows attention. So you just get enough attention
Good
is
point.
the more attention you get out there, the more things are going to happen. Sometimes they just look at it like that. So
Yeah. It could be just me. Maybe Robert, anything comes to mind for you? Anything you're advising your clients of messaging and all that?
Well, I mean, and again, I think it depends on what you are willing to put up with in life, right? Some people don't mind being hated.
Yeah.
Some people,
money follows attention.
if there's some people, if they're hated, it like swallows up their entire soul and they're like, oh my God, I can't function. Right. So, I mean, there's a couple of different types of marketing. There's relationship marketing where it's like, listen, you're authentic and you create connection with people and you build things over time. And then there's the marketing where it's like, it's a numbers game. Listen, you happen to be in my orbit. I'm putting you in my funnel.
Good point.
Boom, and you're getting all the stuff. If you happen to fall out of the funnel, that's okay. There's 10 other people behind you because I'm doing this with everybody. ERRYBODY. Right?
Everybody.
I'm doing right. So it's I won't say do one versus the other because there's obvious examples where both work.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever you can put up with.
I got a question. Like, is there anybody that is doing that right though? Or is that an opportunity? Because when I first saw your email, my first thought was like, that seems like it'd be an opportunity. Who is doing that right?
I'll give an example. E-commerce providers, maybe not, but here's an example. Oh, well, Amazon and some of the small business companies I do.
Good point.
Entrepreneur has several different options. At New York Times, I can sign up for news, for politics, for city news, police blotter. So I guess that's the kind of thing they give me. They're a whole different machine than a clothing company. But that's one example. Same thing with Hulu. Hulu, when they say just launched or coming out Friday, I'm guaranteeing almost my wife is not getting an email about the new Bruce Willis, whatever it may be, movie. I'm betting that hers comes out Downton Abbey or something like that. Downton Abbey, I think it's called periods dramas of British and all that. My point is, I'm pretty much 101% guaranteed they're slicing that. And when they tell me this is coming out Friday, Matt Damon, I bet everybody on their list is not getting a Matt Damon's coming out email because they know that's the stuff I click on. So those are two examples, and it does take a lot of money or some effort to do hand, but I guess that's what I wish that this clothing retailer could have got to know who I am a bit, asked me some questions, and even gave me three options. Ramon, are you a young guy who likes to wear Cole Haan type shoes, maybe some fitted pants? Or do you like three-piece suits or just something like that? But Robert, were you going to jump in or David?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there is a piece of us that we wish or we would like to be treated a certain way. And then if I were to flip to the other side or the other perspective or the retailer's perspective, They're just kind of like, well, dude, this has been working for us. Here's what our numbers say. Here's what the data says for us. So bump what Ramon feels. You know,
so they're not going to have a separate email list just for me. They're not going to have a staff of 10. Got it. Fair enough. Listen, one more time, Robert Kennedy, talk to us how people can reach you and learn about communication and strategies, especially for real estate agents, I believe you said. Tell us that one more time, Robert Kennedy.
Hey, if you are a real estate agent who is looking to get greater connection with your prospects, suspects, clients, and customers, if you are looking to figure out how you can create long-term relationships with them and have them pick you when it's their turn to make a decision, how you can do that online. I help people do that through storytelling, through confident communication, and you can get connected with me by going to RK3. That's me. RK3, that's .me.
I love it. Robert,
see you there.
Indeed. And Robert is definitely one of the best at what he does. David Hill, one more time, tell us how we can reach you, my friend, please. And thanks for being here with us.
Absolutely, Ramon. Thank you, sir. And davidhill.link is the easiest. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. It's all David I Hill. Same thing on Facebook, David I Hill. So love you to connect with me on Facebook or any of the social platforms. And salespeople, if you're selling, I want to help you become more effective, connect with more people, handle objections, all that good stuff. And in the end, make more money, live a more fulfilled life, and be inspired. So that's it. Thanks, Ramon.
And David Hill as well, someone who I followed and get to hear his voice oftentimes. So definitely want to pour into and follow what David Hill's doing. He's good people. Everybody listen, thanks for watching the Rundown with Ramon. Glad you're here. I'm seeing an increase of people reaching out a bit and saying, Ramon, we like your show. It's engaging. So thank you so much. You can find me at RamonRay.com or on Instagram. Just DM me, Ramon Ray Smart Hustle, and let me know how well you like Robert, David, how well we're doing and how you like it, how we're uplifting, adding value to your world. That's why we're doing this, to help you live a better life. And again, thanks for watching the Rundown with Ramon.